Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unit E podcast. And in today's episode, we've got another special guest, Ryan. He is the co author of a book about AI, Hey AI, Let's Talk. And today we're going to be discussing about his book, why he wrote it, the writing process, etc., and as well as writing it as just a teenager. So, Ryan, can you maybe give a brief introduction about yourself?
Hi, I'm Ryan. I currently attend the school NLCS Jeju, and I live in Jeju. So I wrote a book called Hey, Let's Talk. I think last year, with my dad, and it took us about 9 months. Um, Glad to be here today.
Yeah. Okay, so talk to me about what got you started on the book and any inspirations that you had or like the biggest motive for you to write this.
So it all started a couple of years ago actually. When I first used AI, which was an art AI called Midjourney, when it
Mhm.
was still fairly recent, for a yearbook competition, in which I ended up a runner-up when I was in about year six or grade five. And afterwards, which is then about a year and a half ago, my dad recommended to me an online course on a platform called Coursera,
Mhm.
related to prompt engineering. But after I finished the course, I found it wasn't very satisfying, particularly because it wasn't really suited for teenagers like me, and it wasn't really structured well as well, because it just threw a lot of videos, prompting techniques at you, gave a bit of explanation, maybe an example, and just let you figure out everything else out afterwards. Yes, the course did offer some help with prompt engineering, and it gave you more about like specific techniques, things like few-shot prompting or persona-based prompting. But overall, it felt more like just a bunch of videos thrown together, rather than an actual structured guide. I did pick up individual skills, but it lacked like a clear kind of like big picture explanation of what AI actually is or how everything fits together, especially for someone just starting out like me at that time.
Mhm.
And so, even after searching for a while on platforms like Coursera and on other places, we still really couldn't find any materials at all, for specifically tailored for teenagers, regarding prompt engineering. So we figured the best way to learn something was to try teaching it. So which is what got us started in the whole thing. We ended up using AI to learn about AI, and the book became a bright byproduct of that hands-on experience that we had. And along the way, we explored a lot of techniques and tools, and also we learned about the potentials and limitations of AI.
Mhm.
Um, and a big part of this was also my dad wanting to share a message with me, which is that teenagers like me can use AI not just for convenience, but
Mhm.
also as a way to create, build, and explore ideas a lot far beyond what we can usually imagine.
Mhm.
For example, what I did with our book. So basically, in a nutshell, there weren't any clear, good resources for people my age, so we decided to figure out on our own, and our book became a way to share what we learned.
Wow. Okay, that is very cool. And so when you got started on writing the book, were there any like unexpected challenges or things that you did not foresee happening? And like, what was the overall writing process like for you?
So for the issues, it was honestly really exhausting.
Hmm.
Usually, before that, my mom made us go to bed at around 9:30 to 10, which
Yeah.
isn't exactly the best, but during the time I was writing the book with my dad, I'd work right after school, and after I finished my homework until around 11 p.m. Then of course, I try to fit in a little bit of personal time. I did things like reading, watching anime, playing games, etc., for an hour until around midnight. But honestly, it was just like so exhausting. Most of the time, I ended up just sleeping right away. So I didn't really get much of a personal life during that whole period of writing the book.
Hmm.
My schedule was just wake up at 7, go to school at 8, get home at 5, work for another 6 more hours before sleeping or doing something for fun. And another thing was I ended up having to sacrifice most of my weekends and like also my holidays, because it was all taken up by writing.
Hmm.
And another issue we encountered while actually writing the book itself was when I at the start, I was writing chapters with my dad, but we found that it didn't really work out too well. Because I wasn't really that good at the teaching part. It didn't really click for me. So in the end, I ended up switching to working on examples, case studies, and making like activities or homework that are scattered all throughout the book now. I realized I was much better, much more proficient at that, and so I decided just to start doing that completely rather than working on the chapters with my dad.
Oh.
And another on a side note, we went to like a lot of cafes while writing our book, and we had a lot of experiences while ordering drinks there as well. There was this one time I remember I ordered a blue lemonade with a shot of espresso in it. It looked really interesting because it was like light blue and then like the brown and stuff. It was kind of cool like on the outside, but then I tasted it and it was terrible. The sweet and the bitterness didn't mix well. So I guess I learned that the moral of the story here is don't judge a book by its cover.
Hmm.
And for the writing process, for starters, when we first decided to start writing the book, we the first step we took was creating a table of contents to guide us through the whole thing, figure out what we wanted to write about. So basically, it was our outline. But at that time, even though there were an abundance of resources and things online, they were mostly just scattered tips and tricks, and they were all like very unorganized.
Hmm.
And so, when we found that out, we tried using ChatGPT to help us build a table of contents because we figured it's an AI, so it probably knows about itself. But again, since it was still such a new area, it didn't really have much training on the topic. So what we got out of it was just like a huge list filled with like a bunch of redundant topics, points, and even some like non-existent concepts.
Hmm.
So that was our table of contents. Eventually, we managed to do it by piecing together a lot of stuff. So we had our table of contents, but on another big part of our writing process was the revision. We went through a lot of major revisions, so 5 major revisions before finalizing our manuscript. And our first draft took around 2 months to complete, and ended up being about over 100,000 words. But we did make a lot of major changes along the way, including removing like an entire chapter. We originally had a chapter dedicated to the custom GPT feature in ChatGPT, but we ended up removing it because we just wanted to focus entirely on the fundamentals rather than the actual specific product features. And another thing is with ChatGPT evolving so rapidly at the time, we had like new features rolling out, changing or disappearing every month. We figured that there was no point in writing a chapter that could become outdated almost immediately.
Hmm.
So those are the main reasons why we removed that chapter. And when I talked about fundamentals earlier, I'm not referring to just the prompting techniques themselves, although understanding these is certainly important. But what's equally or even more important are our core competencies, which we are critical thinking, creativity, and communication, along with a clear understanding of AI's potentials and limitations. We also believe that's important. So, in other words, knowing how to drive the car before actually stepping on the gas is also
Hmm.
important, and also having the right attitude when engaging with AI. We feel like those are all like really important points when using AI. We develop these abilities alongside our understanding of prompting techniques, and we you can use like both together to make a better use of AI and to create like a feedback loop to improve your core competencies, improve your understanding, and all those things.
Hmm.
And that's really the approach we stuck with throughout the whole process. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you worked with your father on this book, which is honestly something that I can't imagine myself doing because my father and I, we have a lot of like conflicting ideas on things. So, like, what do you think is the main difference on your opinion and your father's opinion on the rise of AI? Like, you're a Gen Z, I think. And so how do you think that sets you apart from your perception like of AI to your parents or some even older generations on like their perceptions of AI? Yeah.
So that's a good point, and I think a lot of currently older generations, a lot of them they all focus on the cons or the negative parts of AI, and my father and I believe uh that AI is something we can't outrun from.
Hmm.
Um, because we have already entered the AI age. The spotlight has shown on us, and we can't run away now.
Yeah.
So I think instead of just worrying about all the negatives of AI, like a lot of the old generations, we are focusing on the positives. It's already here, it's unavoidable, so we should just make the best out of it.
Mhm.
And regarding the difference between my father and I's opinions, we don't really have much of a difference in opinion.
Mhm.
Um, my dad influences my life a lot, so I guess his opinions and his thought process, everything he's taught me throughout the process of writing the book, it's really stuck with me, and
Mhm.
it's also what I believe in.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because me personally, I'm actually a little pessimistic about AI because my current perception of AI is that it's like learning and growing as we use it more. And so, like, to me, there is a point in which AI would start to have its own consciousness and will like form their own opinions on humanity and whether it's worth taking over us. So, do you have anything that you want to say to people who may have those like same perceptions of
Yeah.
AI as me?
Yep. Well, AI is transforming the world, and we're the first generation to witness firsthand how it reshapes everything. So these are
Mhm.
things like the way we learn, the way we live. Every aspect of our lives is changing, and so with so much uncertainty ahead, uh, I think one thing is clear the most. We need to learn how to grow alongside AI as it evolves.
Mhm.
How we choose to embrace AI will define our future.
Yeah.
Um, and a big thing, I don't think I've ever seen anyone online or talk about or discuss this, but AI is obviously going to raise the baseline of capability, the baseline for what's possible. It will kind of level the playing field for everyone.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's the people with good fundamentals, with strong fundamentals, who are going to rise above the rest.
Mhm.
It's like if a construction worker and a data scientist both give AI a basic prompt, they will get the same result.
Mhm.
So that's the baseline of capability. But if that construction worker has good foundational skills like creativity, they can easily surpass a scientist. To prove this, my dad did a little bit of research, and we found a study from MIT in 2024 that they did. It shows that scientists with strong critical thinking skills get an 81% boost in productivity when using AI. And other scientists at like the same institute barely saw any productivity boost when using AI, like at all. And so that's it kind of shows that to push yourself beyond to grow, you need these fundamentals which you can develop through the use of AI, so which is the feedback loop I mentioned earlier. And
Mhm.
creativity is another thing that's also really important for pushing beyond. We believe that only those who can link the faraway dots that others cannot can get the most out of AI.
Mhm.
But in the end, it's not just like one of these things individually, it's like all of them combined. For us,
Mhm.
we always try to focus on the positives of AI, of course, like I mentioned, instead of just worrying about the risks. We do acknowledge that there are risks like over dependency, and we
Mhm.
have seen them firsthand. So at my school, my dad and I are teaching an extracurricular class, and in the first term, we did notice over dependency in the first term, but we just can't hide from it. It's here. And regarding the extracurricular class I mentioned, so um, I touched a little bit on attitude before, I think, but
Yeah.
to further talk about that. So in our first term, in our extracurricular class, we got some data from the librarians at our school, and it showed that there was like a declining participation in the school library.
Mhm.
And so we used that for a case during our extracurricular classes. And one thing we found was that all the students finished everything within the first few prompts, and they were all really satisfied with it. They thought it was good enough. But the reality was that after we showed it to others, the librarians and other people, it was obviously unsatisfactory. And the what this shows is the takeaway here is that without a solid, comprehensive understanding of a subject or topic, people will just settle for whatever AI gives them, because that's what AI is designed to do. Generative AI is designed to just please the user. Um, but in our second term, we tried another activity. We got students to write a comedic superhero story using AI, and we gave them about 20 minutes to do this. And after their allocated time was up, they were still working on it, and some requested extra time. So we gave them another 5 minutes, but after that, they were still working. And this then again proves that as because as children they have a good sense of comedy. They have that comprehensive understanding, so they know the line that the work should cross in order to be like truly good enough or truly funny in that case. And so it really shows that our attitude. And so the attitude is that you need to keep pushing yourself to grow and to learn more in general about things in general, so that you can work or produce better results with AI.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Because you mentioned AI would raise the standards of everything in the future. Do you think that means um, our current education systems around the world, it would lead us to a new direction of like rather than teaching us the knowledge, it would like teach us how to perceive knowledge and how to use it more? Or like where do you think the direction of like students and how they learn at school would change with your perception of AI?
Mm-hmm. I think that similar to your point, I education will definitely change because this is the AI era now. And actually receiving the knowledge itself, I think is less important than the fundamentals now. I think rather than focusing on the actual knowledge itself, schools should now focus on teaching and training core competencies like creativity and critical thinking.
Yeah.
In a lot of schools, particularly the schools I've been to, I often see a lot of posters, maybe in classrooms or hallways, and I get from teachers that critical thinking is important, and that's true. But I've never had a class in school that teaches explicitly critical thinking. So I think that's something that needs to be introduced into educational systems, and same thing with creativity. Yes, there are subjects like music or art, and creativity is certainly encouraged in those subjects, but it's not directly taught. Like for example, art class, you could be told to like draw an apple or something, but that's not actual like creativity. Maybe like the way you use your brush is kind of creative, but that's the limit. So I think these kind of things, how to properly engage with AI and prompting techniques, they should all be taught in school, because then you can use that to then gain the knowledge. Like, because the knowledge itself will not be the most important in the future, I believe,
Mhm.
but rather these fundamentals that can help you gain the knowledge if you want it or need it, and to just be more productive. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So do you think you agree with the statement that AI would basically replace almost all jobs in the future? And do you think in current corporations, humans are still actually needed for the growth of the company, or do you think AI is capable of just taking over those jobs?
I partially agree with that statement. So, as I mentioned, AI will increase the baseline of capability, and those with fundamentals will be able to do a lot more, be a lot more productive. And with a study from MIT, humans will be a lot more productive when using AI. That
Mhm.
is something guaranteed. And because we have more productive humans, before when you needed 5 people to do something, you now only need one or two. And so, yes, it will remove multiple jobs, but it will also create a lot more jobs. This is the same with every other revolution in the past.
Yeah.
When the Industrial Revolution happened, a lot of I think it was cotton weavers. I forgot exactly, but those types of jobs were pretty much removed. They didn't really exist anymore. But then factories opened, and that caused a lot more. It created a lot more job openings as well. So everything I feel like will everything will end up balancing
Mhm.
because there will be more opportunities for jobs, and jobs will be removed. So it will kind of like balance in the end. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Uh, so do you foresee yourself taking up an AI or technology related occupation in the future, or do you have any idea of what you're going to study in college, maybe?
Okay. Not right now. No one knows anything right now. Because we're still very early in the AI era,
Hmm.
anything is subject to change.
Yeah.
Um, One thing I know for sure is that I want to continue being good at using AI because it keeps a lot of doors open for me in the future. That's
Mhm.
one thing for sure. Regarding what I want to pursue, I also don't know because what I want to pursue, I have to balance that with what will sustain me. And of course, like I just mentioned, it's probably going to change a lot in the future.
Mhm.
Currently, I'm interested in psychology, music, and writing, things like that. But I don't know. It could change in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So is there anything that you want to say to youths and teenagers out there who may be either relying on AI too much or is still fearing this technology? What do you have to say to them?
For those fearing the technology, just you can't escape. It's the AI era started. I've emphasized this point multiple times now, but there is literally nowhere to run. The flashlight has shown on you, and it's just you're on the stage now. You can't just like run off. Just embrace it, and the best thing to do is to make the most out of it. If it's going to happen. Nothing's going to AI won't suddenly disappear one day overnight. It's going to stay. And you just have to embrace it and make the most out of it. And for those overusing AI, I'd honestly recommend you not to overuse it, over rely on it, because in the end, all it does, which a lot of which it's just to diminish your fundamentals, diminish your critical thinking capabilities, diminish your creativity. Um, if you just over rely on it, you will have no future. The future is critical thinking, creativity. Your attitude defines everything. How you embrace AI will define your future, as I mentioned before. So if you're over relying on AI and you don't have these critical thinking capabilities, you don't have this creativity, you can't communicate with AI well, then you have pretty much no future.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was a very interesting discussion with you, Ryan, and that will be wrapping up our episode. And if you like the content that we do, make sure you hit the subscribe button and check out Ryan's book, Hey AI, Let's Talk. And that's it for this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.